Hi, this is Yuri Skripinchenko with Trust Start Realty, and in today's video, we will discuss Section 8 tenants. If you're a landlord or an investor in the city of Philadelphia, you probably considered or have rented to Section 8 tenants before, and maybe now, for one or the other reason, you don't want to do that anymore. And you probably heard a lot of horror stories from your friends, landlords, or investors about tenant trash in places, or may not even be able to evict Section 8 tenants from properties. That can be set to both Section 8 and regular market tenants. So you as a landlord have risks in either cases. So let's see what pluses and minuses you have by renting to Section 8 tenants in Philadelphia. Renting to Section 8 tenants in Philadelphia can provide you with a steady stream of income, especially with the newest payment standard that PHA, Philadelphia Housing Authority, released last year in 2023, which is in a lot of cases even higher than the market rate. This standard sets a very competitive rent based on the location of the property by zip code and the size of the property, how many bedrooms you have. Since the last year increase in PHA payment standard, we see a lot of out-of-state investors coming into Philadelphia to specifically cater to Section 8 tenants. And of course, it's a good thing for you as a landlord or as an investor, especially since you're receiving guaranteed rent from a housing authority and it goes directly into your bank account. So you don't need to run after your tenants to collect the rent. Common misconception for Section 8 tenants is that they live in low-income neighborhood and they trash in your properties, which can be true and depends on how you operate your investment. So Section 8 voucher, it's something that tenants value. And by having Section 8 voucher, they're actually able to live in better neighborhoods than they would be able otherwise. A lot of Section 8 tenants are decent tenants as well. You still should have your tenant screening process and select your Section 8 tenants the same way how you would select a regular market tenant. Another positive thing that you have for Section 8 tenants is that they tend to stay in properties longer than regular tenants. So you may have a stay tenant for many, many years, and a bigger portion of the rent, or maybe even the whole rent, will be covered by PHA. Also, PHA will help you sometimes to keep your tenant up to your lease standard. Sometimes PHA can provide support to landlords, ensuring that your tenants comply with your lease agreement. Besides the advantages, there are some disadvantages renting to Section 8 tenants as well that you need to consider. You will still need to manage rent collection for the portion that tenants owe you, and they still may delay those payments or may not even be able to pay them. Tenants can potentially trigger unexpected inspections from PHA, which will lead to unexpected expenses on your end, because PHA will want you to do the repairs to be able to keep your Section 8 tenant in place and make those payments monthly. Plus, you don't have a full control of the rent price for the property because it's controlled by PHA, and you don't really know what rent they will pay you until the last step of the process. It's common misconception that when landlords looking at the PHA payment standard, that they see a 3-bedroom property at specific zip code and they see that price and expect to receive that rent from PHA, which is not true. Before you will know what is your rent amount for the property, you will need to have specific applicant that you will submit to PHA, and after they review the application, the applicant, the property, they will provide you an offer for the property and with the amount of rent that they will be able to pay for that property. The amount that you see in the PHA payment standard, it's just the amount that they will be able to pay up to. So they're not going to be able to pay more than that amount. In a lot of cases, we see that they pay less than that amount, and sometimes it's significantly less. And there are a lot of different factors that go into that. Mostly it's tenant's family, tenant's income, and their vouchers. Until PHA reviews all of that, you will not know the specific rent amount that you get for your property. Another issue to consider is that PHA does annual inspections. And sometimes, as I already said, tenants can trigger inspections by calling PHA and ask them to do it. And if they come out and do inspection, find that the property doesn't comply with what they're looking for, they will request you to do repairs. If you do not do those repairs within the time frame that PHA requires you to, then they can stop making PHA payments. And even after you comply with the repairs, it will be close to impossible to get the payments back out of PHA that they didn't pay or stopped paying because the repairs were not made. And sometimes it can be more complicated because tenants may not comply with you when you're trying to send your handyman to do the job or going yourself to do the job. Another hurdle is that it may be even harder to find PHA tenant right now than having a property on the open market and get a regular market tenant in your property. Understanding the rules and legalities about renting properties to Section 8 tenants or to any tenants is essential. And you need to be able and willing to work with PHA to make sure that your tenants stay compliant and that your property stay compliant with PHA requirement. You will need to keep PHA aware of any problems with the tenants or the lease and have them in the loop so they can help tenant or you and mediate between two of you. And whenever you rent to PHA tenants or Section 8 tenants in any part of the country, you need to comply with all the local and federal law as well. And right now, it's a national-wide trend that more and more states and cities make it illegal to discriminate against source of income. And they include Section 8 vouchers as source of income, meaning that you cannot discriminate against tenants with Section 8 vouchers, and you still need to accept them even though you don't want to deal with PHA. Of course, there are different ways how you can go around it, but Philadelphia is not one of those cities yet. I think Philadelphia is heading that direction, and in some time we will have to accept PHA vouchers as source of income for any applicant that comes our way. As of now, we don't have to. So if you manage it properly, Section 8 can be a profitable business for you. You just need to make sure that you're willing and able to cooperate and coordinate with Philadelphia housing authorities and be able to follow all the rules and regulations and laws that we have in the city. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can find us at truststartrealty.com. Feel free to call us if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.